Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast, brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening on a Tuesday. Hey, baby, how's it going?
Hey, super. How are you?
Fantastic. I'm excited. We'll be talking to your dad here in a little while with Tuesdays with Charlie. We do that every Tuesday. It's always fun. Also, what you don't know can hurt you. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, when it comes to choosing sunscreen, many of the sunscreens tested do not provide the protection promised on the label. In fact, a consumer report recently found that only 20 sunscreens tested actually met their promised protection level. So make sure that you get
Do we
one.
have that list?
I don't.
Well,
So at least I know what I don't know.
Okay.
We had this conversation.
What you don't know might hurt you as well. Because
I know.
You're...
I had the conversation with my daughter the other day. We were talking about in the car you were with. I was making her really frustrated. I said, well, sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. But in other cases, at least you know that you don't know it. And she's like, this doesn't make any sense. Well, now we know what we don't know. Coming up here in a bit, we're going to talk about a Massachusetts man that's in trouble for dressing up like a character from Star Wars. We'll tell you why that got him in trouble on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVWheelator.com.
If you're selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com. They only get paid if they help you sell your RV. So what do you have to lose? And if you're buying an RV, you got to find the great deals at RVWheelator.com.
Now back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
School has been out for a while in a lot of places, but apparently either this story is a couple weeks old or there was still school going on last week in Massachusetts. There's a man there that got in a little bit of trouble with the law when he was spotted outside an elementary school dressed as a Star Wars stormtrooper with a fake gun and all. That's where they were going. You can't have a gun on.
Oh, because he had a gun.
Yeah, 40-year-old
who cares?
George Cross put on a white plastic costume last week and walked near the Brickett Elementary School in Lynn. And Cross said he had just bought the costume and was just walking through the neighborhood to show it to his friends. He's like, wasn't going to do anything. It's not going to hurt anybody. And the good news is, and this joke is for our son, if he was really a stormtrooper, the kids would have all been safe anyway because he couldn't.
He wouldn't have hit anything anyways.
You ever watched that? We watched Star Wars just like a week ago with our son. And what was the deal? All the good guys were like the amazing shots, but all the bad guys couldn't hit anything. That's how it works in all the movies, apparently. But he was dressed up like a stormtrooper walking through the neighborhood. If I got a stormtrooper outfit, would you let me walk through the neighborhood?
I first of all, you would not be getting a stormtrooper outfit.
Do they make them in my size?
I'm not going to be married to somebody who's wandering around in a stormtrooper outfit. They'd be like, isn't that your husband? I'm like, no.
No, that's a Michelin man. I'm not
sure what he's dressed as. I filed for divorce 10 minutes ago.
All right, we got a fun story coming up here in a bit. Thank you so much for joining us.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1 plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more. That's dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
You know this has got to be true because you heard it on the radio. I scour the internet to find stories that are almost unbelievable. And here's one that's just an interesting story. I'll give you the headline. A group of Swiss evangelical Christians are building a giant Bible theme park in Germany. So the website says they want to transmit the story and the message of the Bible in, and I quote, an active and exciting way. Genesis Park will be the size of 70 soccer fields, and the centerpiece will be an original-size Noah's Ark replica, 490 feet long, surrounded by water. There will also be 39 other biblical-related attractions, including roller coasters on the theme of the Great Flood and Heaven and Hell, Old Testament-era desert tent, a Tower of Babel paranormal restaurant, and a mock-up of Jerusalem in the time of Jesus, which will double as a main shopping mall. So I'm reading this going, is that for real? Do you think they're really doing this, or is this somebody just, pranking us on the internet? Do you think they would have a lot of people that would say, I want to go to that?
I could see somebody doing that.
I would kind of like to see the Ark. I was like, that'd be kind of cool. I'd like to go. I wonder if they have like a Noah's Ark inside like a petting zoo. Pet a zebra. You think?
Oh, that would be a very good idea.
Now you got my attention. I would go to that. So this is happening right now somewhere in Germany, according to the internet. Like I say, I don't double check these things. I don't look to see for sure. There's no way for me to prove that any of this stuff is true. But I find these stories and just have faith that they're real. and half the time I'm wrong. So
I don't know. Well, that one would be easy enough to find out, I would think. I think you Google it.
It would be interesting when you think about some of the roller coasters. They were talking about roller coasters, with the different themes, like the Great Flood and Heaven and Hell roller coasters. That would be kind of an interesting addition, because I'm trying to imagine. I know there have been times I've been on roller coasters where I was praying a lot because I was very scared. I'm kind of a big old baby.
I like roller coasters.
I know, and that's why I have to go on them, because you make me do it. But anyway, if this is true, it's coming sometime soon to Germany. So there you go. Good reason to head over there. And you know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again?
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. Drugs do really kill brain cells, because after hearing about this story, I can't think of any other explanation. Duron Frank of Pennsylvania was brought into court recently on drug charges. While he was in the courthouse, he was approached by a couple of officers there to serve him with a warrant because of a completely different case. When he saw the officers, he got nervous and blurted out that he had drugs on his person. Sure enough, officers checked him, and indeed he had 2 grams of crack and some marijuana right there in the courthouse. He was scheduled for drug possession charges in the first place. I think whatever additional time that he's giving still probably isn't enough.
No, if you know that's why you're going to court, why would you take it along with you?
I don't know. So he got caught once, was being sentenced for that, or being, going to court for that, while there had some on him, and was being served for a different crime.
What an idiot.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm pretty sure brain cells are being destroyed when you're doing those drugs, so that's not a good idea. This has been your Brain on Drugs. We've got your moment of duh coming up. Thank you so much for joining us on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com. They only get paid if they help you sell your RV. If you're buying an RV, you can find great deals at RVWheelator.com. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
We've all done it before. We do something that afterwards you go, wow, that was not very smart.
Oh, yeah.
I've done it. I can't even think how many times. It's been a lot. But our moment of duh today is a lady who did something like that. Elise Weiss of Mulheim, Germany. Hey, this is the second German story of the day. Her neighbors continually complained about her habit of blasting loud music from her garden, complained to police one night that she couldn't sleep because somebody else was blasting loud music, only to be told by investigating officers that it was coming from her own radio, which she left on in the garden. According to one neighbor, she always plays her music really loud. For once, she gave herself a taste of her own medicine. So she literally called the police on herself.
Cops on herself.
Yeah. So when the officers got there, they said, hey, we found the culprit, and it's you. Yeah, you left your radio on. You know the one that we keep telling you to turn off? Turn it off.
Yeah, now you know why. Now you know why we're telling you to turn it down.
I've never done that, but I have done a lot of dumb things. It would probably put me on the list of the moment of duh. We do have the scoop of the day coming your way after this on the John and Heidi Show.
The John and Heidi Show podcast is brought to you by DirecTV.
They have big-time savings going on right now, so you can sign up and save. Get all the details at 1-800-259-7646.
Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com.
Quite possibly the best way to buy an RV or to sell an RV. They're like a realtor for your RV. Check out RVWheelator.com.
And the Dollar Shave Club.
Get amazing razors for $1 a month, and for a few bucks more, they'll bring them right to your door.
Sign up today at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.
Now, your scoop of the day. Ukrainian woman had been arrested for trying to smuggle some bears on an airplane. She said they were dogs. Can you take dogs on an airplane?
Well, you can. Yeah, they have to ride in the baggage area.
I just imagine sitting there next to a bear. That'd probably be the best airplane ride I've ever had.
They must have been bear cubs. There's no way you'd pass off like black bears. These are my puppies.
That one's a poodle. You just have really bad eyes. A counterfeiter from Colombia printed $42 million in fake U.S. currency while he was recently sentenced to 5 years in prison. I wonder if during that trial, if he said, can I just, give you my bail money right now? I got $42 million. A Chicago man arrested on drug charges reportedly chewed off the seatbelt in a police car.
Oh.
Yeah, he didn't want to miss his son's birthday party. That's a nice reason.
I think I read about that. Yeah, he got out.
He was arrested after they saw him selling $30 worth of heroin on a city street.
Oh, my gosh.
He was placed in a squad car and taken to a nearby station. During the drive, he managed to chew through his seatbelt. Officers said they told him that he didn't want to miss his birthday party. He was charged with 2 counts of possession of controlled substance and 1 count of criminal damage to property for chewing through that seatbelt. I didn't know you could.
Well, I mean, of course, even if he got through the seatbelt and managed to get out of the car, it's not like they were going to let him just go hang out at a birthday party for the afternoon.
Well, he did chew through the seatbelt. We should probably just let him go for a while. A 44-year-old Florida man was arrested after he allegedly called 911. Guess why?
Why?
To brag about his big muscles. He wanted to ask the dispatcher on a date. He's like, hey, I got some big muscles.
Oh, my gosh.
What you doing later? He's like, well, what's your address? I'd like to come see you, or at least send somebody else to come see you. Ben Affleck, Jennifer Garner officially splitting. That's really sad.
I heard that. That is too bad.
The official statement said, this came out last week. After much thought and careful consideration, we have made the difficult decision to divorce. We go forward with love and friendship for one another and are committed to co-parenting our children, whose privacy we ask to be respected during this difficult time. So there you go.
Yeah, and it still hasn't been respected. They're on every tabloid and in every magazine. And
that's too bad. When you're in the spotlight like that, it would be really hard to go through something like that. Mm-hmm. So, that's kind of how it is with us. And in other news, John and Heidi made a big decision the other day. Thick or thin crust. I don't know. All right. Imagine battling blindness by having a telescope in your eye. Yeah. U.S. health officials have approved a first-of-its-kind technology to counter a leading cause of blindness in older adults. It's a tiny telescope implant inside your eye.
Ew.
The implantable miniature telescope aims to help in the end stages of incurable age-related macular degeneration, a creeping loss of central vision that blocks reading, watching TV, eventually even recognizing faces. Now, the idea, surgically insert an implantable miniature telescope into one eye for better central vision, while leaving the other eye alone to provide peripheral vision. The brain must fuse the two together for a single image. Now, the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, warned that patients needing post-surgery rehabilitation, they'll need that to make this work. So it's not like you're going to put it in and go, boom, I can see perfectly. They're saying after you're done getting this telescope in your eye, there's more work to it. So that's really
Can you imagine
amazing.
what that would feel like? I'm go crazy if I have an eyelash in there.
I'm assuming that it's a lot smaller than the telescopes I've seen.
It's protruding on the backside of your head.
An Oxford study found that if you use a lot of flowery language to describe the smell of something, people think it tastes better and think it smells better. So when you read menus, they're like really, really verbose and have fabulous wording. That supposedly helps you think, this does taste better. According to a study, 50% of people have at least 50% of their hair turn gray by the age 50. So 50-50-50. We got a little bit of time.
I know. I'm sure on the road to that. That's for sure.
Our strange law. Elephants may not be used to plow cotton fields in North Carolina. So there you go. Strange law.
Elephants.
In North Carolina, it is illegal.
They really do have a large population of elephants.
There's a ton
in
of
North Carolina.
Yeah, so they can't
so they had to make it a law just to protect the elephants.
Yeah, they can't use them to plow cotton fields now. So there you go. We've got Tuesdays with Charlie on the way. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been your Scoop of the Day.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by Rough Tough Kennels.
If you have a puppy or a big dog, Rough Tough Kennels has something that's just right for you. They have kennels that are strong enough that I can stand on top of them, but they're cozy enough for your furry little best friend. Learn more and see the different sizes available at roughtoughkennels.com.
That's RUFF. toughkennels.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Tuesday. It's time right now for my favorite thing that we do all week long. We pick up the phone and we call my father-in-law just because we can for a little program we like to call Tuesdays with Charlie. How you doing, Charlie?
Hey, I'm doing great.
Very, very good. Now, we haven't talked to you since the 4th of July. Did you blow any fingers off or anything?
No, I didn't even touch any fireworks.
Very good. Did you have fun, though?
Okay, yeah.
We were talking to a listener just a little while ago that was telling us about a friend of his. They had, don't try this at home, but they had a bonfire, and they threw a propane tank in it. That is a terrible idea. I guess it caused quite the commotion where they live, so don't do that.
There must have been alcohol involved
There was definitely
I'm
alcohol.
sure there was alcohol involved.
They told me, it was. Don't try that at home, kids.
I guess they had to clear the whole
Yeah,
block.
they had to be like, they had to get like almost a mile away. So
Oh, yeah.
bad idea. Well, what are we going to learn about today, Charlie?
In 2010, a Pennsylvania man was charged with breaking a trooper's fist with his face.
So he
Oh my God.
he broke the guy's fist with his face.
Yep.
I guess that works.
Well, I don't know what the outcome was, but hey, then did you know when a person dies, hearing is the last sense to go?
So the last thing is hearing. First of all, how do they know that?
I don't know how they would know.
asked-
That's ridiculous.
I'm not sure that there's really any way to actually quantify that that's true.
I think they say that for the living.
There you go.
I think that's to benefit the living, not necessarily anything to do with the person that's passing away. But it's probably comforting to the living to think that they heard what you were saying to them as they were
Oh,
passing.
the dead.
Or maybe that's not so comforting.
Hey, then did you know that 48% of the world's population, 15 or over, has never consumed alcohol?
That's cool. So that's just more for you, right?
Yeah.
I was
and
going to say,
think
they
that's
don't know what
pretty
they're
good.
missing.
I thought that'd be higher. Did you know that before establishing KFC, Colonel Sanders worked at a gas station?
Yeah, it was. He had a restaurant and a gas station all hooked together.
And he got into a gunfight with a rival gas station manager.
Did he
He
really?
did? That is awesome.
Yep.
I did not know that.
So the old colonel was packing heat back then.
Well, there you go. I wonder if anybody was wounded in the gunfight.
Well, it wasn't Colonel Sanders, apparently.
I wonder what the two gangs were called, the propanes and the unleadeds.
Here's a headline. Roasted nuts was the paper headline for when a mental hospital caught on fire.
Oh my gosh,
kidding
that is
me.
awesome.
That is terrible.
Those-
Now, I
Yeah.
don't want a bunch of people emailing you and all this saying we're crazy and all that. I'm just reading the facts.
That
So
is funny. Those would be headlines if I were running a newspaper.
Yeah, you'd be the one getting the emails then. But how awful that was.
I think that's great, though. That's hilarious.
You guys make it really hard for me to stand up for you sometimes. You know that?
Well, that's your job. I got one last thing here.
All right, what's that?
When Christmas first began, the celebration included getting intoxicated, having sex, and singing naked in the streets.
What was that?
My kind of Christmas.
That's what you're supposed to do at Christmas time?
The original one, yeah. No, we
It's
got
awfully
away from
cold
that.
at Christmas time to be singing naked in the street. That's the only problem I have with that whole celebration. I'd be like, no, I'm not, no, I'm good. I'll stay inside.
Depends on where you live.
Well, and the thing is, nowadays they quit doing that at Christmas, and now that's what you do at the 4th of July.
Hey, there you go. Just some holidays.
Well, Charlie, I've got a question for you now.
Okay.
And this, for those of you who are new to the program, each week we ask Charlie a question. After he's done telling us all the information that he tells us, we ask a question. If you would like to send a question, we'll tell you how to do that here in a bit. But right now, the question is, who was former Vice President Al Gore's famous freshman roommate at Harvard?
Now, listen, my record's about 98-0
Yeah?
wrong. And you're asking me a presidential question that you know I have no clue.
But
I'll take a stab.
I thought you might know this. He's a famous actor.
George Clooney.
No, good guess. It was
Close?
Tommy Lee Jones.
Well, that's not close.
We didn't say it was
They're
close.
both male actors, I guess. Here, we'll give you one that might be a little easier.
Okay.
How many muscles do you use to smile on average?
I know it takes less to smile than it does to frown.
Yeah, frown is like 40-something. How many does it take to smile?
20.
Close,
Close,
17.
Very close. 17. You were close.
Well, that works for me. If you have a question that you'd like to get to Charlie, send that to us, and we will gladly ask him next week.
That means that I'm 0 and 100.
Well, that's all right. One of these days, you're going to get it right.
Parts and letters coming, right?
That's right. And if you have a question, send it to us. Send it to Charlie at john-amp-heidishow.com, and then that will be the question we ask him next week. Speaking of next week, we'll talk to you next week, Charlie. Have a great day.
Okay.
Bye, Daddy.
Bluff. Bye, John.
Bye-bye. My father-in-law right there, we talk to him every Tuesday just because we can. It's a little program we like to call Tuesdays with Charlie.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1, plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more. That's DollarShaveClub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Today is a very special day, Heidi. You know what today is?
What is today, John?
Thought you'd never ask. It's Tuesday, the 7th day of July. So it's 07/07/15. Hey, today's our dog's birthday.
It is.
All right. So our dog was born 07/07/07, which we should have named her Lucky, but we didn't. It's Mandy. So today is also Chocolate Day.
I love chocolate. I celebrate that every day.
I could celebrate Chocolate Day at least once a week.
That means I'll have to celebrate twice as much today.
There you go. Also, Tell the Truth Day today. So think about something that you've been fibbing on and come clean today. Today is also Global Forgiveness Day, which is cool, and it's Father-Daughter Take a Walk Together Day.
Oh, that's
which
nice.
I noticed is written in my daughter's handwriting. So
you should do that.
I will, actually. It's not really written in her handwriting. It is a real day, but I am going to do that. So I'm going to celebrate by walking with my daughter. I'm going to tell her the truth about some things, and I'm going to eat some chocolate.
There you go.
I'm going to be busy, and you will be too. It's a special day. It is Tuesday, the 7th day of July.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you're selling an RV, check out RVRealtor.com. They only get paid if they help you sell your RV. If you're buying an RV, you can find great deals at RVRealtor.com. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Smokers will soon have a new weapon in their battle to quit. Doctors are testing a so-called vaccine against nicotine. That's the thing that causes your addiction to cigarettes. The drug keeps nicotine from reaching the brain, making smoking less pleasurable and easier to give up. This is kind of a fascinating thing.
It is. It's a good idea.
Pfizer's Chantix is already on the market. Another Acomplia recently won approval in Europe as a weight loss drug. If U.S. regulators follow suit, some doctors say they will use it as well to help smokers quit, especially those concerned about gaining weight. There's still other drugs on the market that will work in the same fashion, and the FDA has given them the fast-track status, meaning they'll get a prompt review. Of the more than 48 million smokers in the United States, 40% each year make a serious attempt to quit, but fewer than 5% succeed long-term. So 35% that quit come back on and start again. I'll tell you, growing up, my mom and dad were both smokers. Were your parents smokers ever or no?
Well, my dad was before he was with my mom. But...
So a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
So he gave it up. My dad quit smoking at age 49, but it's because that's when he died. You know, he was a smoker his whole life and died very, very early, very much because of that. My mother gave up smoking for Lent. Was this 10 years ago?
Oh, it's been
15 years ago?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
And it's funny because she gave up smoking for Lent one year and said, when Lent was done, she said, I just really didn't have a desire to go back to that. And she quit smoking. No nicotine replacements, nothing. Just gave it up and said, I'm doing this.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
It was amazing. I'm so proud of my mother for that. And if you are looking for help, I tell you, there are thousands of places out there that, I don't know about thousands, hundreds for sure of places that have products to help, people out there that have phone lines set up to help. If you want help, there are people that want to help. Just reach out and ask for it, and I guarantee you'll get it. Coming up here in a moment, we've got things to do if you're bored with the kids, because we've been out of school for a little while. What can I do with these kids all summer? We got some things to do with kids if you're bored. That's on the way. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVRealtor.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
We are cruising through the summer, and I've got a list here of some things to do with the kids. Now, this is from, what is the website? Care.com. So if you're looking for things to do, they have a list of 101 some things to do.
Oh, please say we're not going to go through 101 things.
No, I'm going to give you 5 of them.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to say these are the best 5. These are just 5. If you want to check out the others, that's up to you. Knock yourself out. But here you go. Some ideas include, if you're bored with the kiddos, plant a tree. There you go. Another thing to do, bake cookies for the neighbors or for your family. Number 3 on my list, explore nature and go geocaching.
What is geocaching?
It's where you type in coordinates and then you have to find the coordinates using a GPS, or nowadays you can do it on your phone even. Number 4, act out your child's favorite book. So you find a book and then you act it out together. And number 5, make lanyard keychains. And I'll just add number 6. Make up a fake list of things to do.
Yeah, I was going to say, none of that would be anything our kids... If I was like, kids, today we're going to make lanyards, they'd be like, are you kidding?
Mom, while you were dinking around looking at that list, I found all kinds of fun stuff to do right here on my phone, so I don't have time.
Exactly. That's exactly how it would go down.
I'm going to have to schedule some time. I got, between 2 and 4 this afternoon, maybe. All right, coming up here in a bit, going to talk about a guy that was arrested after hailing a cab. We're going to tell you all about that in a bit.
This portion of the program is brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club.
You can get razors every month for just $1. And for $2 more, they'll bring them right to your door. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more.
That's dollarshaveclub.com/radio.
Got a story here from New York, Heidi. A suspected thief was arrested after hailing a taxi. The taxi was being driven by an undercover policeman. The man and his accomplice are allegedly to have broken into an apartment and stolen jewelry, electrical goods, and a bike. Then they hailed a passing taxi to make their escape. When the driver, a member of the NYPD, started asking questions, they tried to run, but they were stopped immediately and arrested. So that's kind of cool. So they have undercover police officers driving around.
That's actually not a bad idea at all.
Yeah, who better to catch people? Something else really quick. It didn't take the CSI team a whole lot to crack this case in Cincinnati. Nathan McFarland left a lot of clues behind when he robbed a KFC. Well, first thing he left behind that made it really simple was his wallet. He dropped his wallet with his photo ID and his social security card and his birth certificate.
Oh my gosh. You're not supposed to walk around with those documents.
Why do you carry all that stuff with you anyway? Anyway, he's been charged with 3 counts of armed robbery and 1 count of just being an overall moron. So there you go. Thank you so much for listening on a Tuesday. We appreciate you joining us on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1, plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more. That's dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Thank you so much for listening on a Tuesday. Kind of disturbing info right here. The percentage of people who identified themselves as Christians fell about 8% in the last 7 years. Oh. So the Pew Research has done this, or a couple of different studies. During the same time, when they're asking about religious affiliations and beliefs, the category none has risen by about 7%. So Christian fell by 8%, none went up by 7%, which may have led to this. Congressman Randy Forbes is encouraging Christians to faith it forward. The Virginia congressman encouraged Christians in a Baptist Press article to tell the story of people helping people. Forbes said, as the founder and co-chairman of the Congressional Prayer Caucus, I am joining with members of Congress across the country to tell these inspiring stories of how people of faith are making a positive impact on their communities. It says, we're calling this initiative Faith It Forward, and they hope that it will unite a nation of people celebrating the hope and inspiration that comes from helping others. And in the Bible they say, love one another. And I think if we all lived by that, think about how many stories we have here on a daily basis where we're talking about people who are not loving one another.
Yeah.
Because if they would, if you just love one another, think about how much better the whole world would be. So I don't know this Randy Forbes, but I'm glad they're doing something. I consider myself a Christian. If I was checking the box, I would check that.
Absolutely.
You would check that.
Without hesitation.
Yeah, without hesitation at all. And completely proud of that as well. So, but it's quite interesting. And here's the thing. You can be Christian and still be fun, too.
Oh, we're a ton of fun.
I think so. Definitely. It has nothing
Especially
to do with
me. I tend to keep you on your toes.
You were maybe a little more fun than me. Okay, you're a lot more fun than me. But anyway, it's very interesting to me that over the last 7 years, is that what it was? Last 7 years, 8% of the people.
That's unfortunate.
8% fewer people checked the Christian box. 7% more people checked the none box. Not being like a nun, I mean saying they have no religion whatsoever.
I get it, yeah.
I just want to make sure I cleared that up.
Yeah, because nuns are typically Christians. Okay. So
I just want to make sure
I understood the...
I thought so.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to head to Denmark, I think? Danish? Is that Denmark?
Yeah.
We're heading there for our story here in a minute. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. I'm going to head to Daneland.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by Rough Tough Kennels.
If you have a puppy or a big dog, Rough Tough Kennels has something that's just right for you. They have kennels that are strong enough that I can stand on top of them, but they're cozy enough for your furry little best friend. Learn more and see the different sizes available at roughtoughkennels.com.
That's RUFF toughkennels.com.
Fun story here from Denmark, not Daneland, as I was going to say. I knew Daneland wasn't right. But when 2 Danish burglars realized someone had stolen the keys to their getaway car, they reacted like honest citizens and called the police. Police arrested them after they confessed to breaking and entering, though. The men broke into a summer cabin and were confronted by a passerby who witnessed the break-in. To ensure they couldn't get away, the passerby took the keys from the car and refused to return them. They then realized that without their keys, they wouldn't really have any way to get away. They'd have to leave the car at the scene, which would put the police on their trail and lead to the arrest anyway. So it was a no-win situation. So they called the police on the man who stole the keys to the car that had the stolen goods in them. Yeah. Maybe they could have put all the stolen goods back in the house first and then called the police.
Wouldn't they have been better off to just take off running and hope the cops don't catch up with them? I mean, instead of calling the cops right there and waiting.
I don't know. Here's the thing.
First of all, they shouldn't have been there in the first place.
But I'm not going to be in that
position. If you're going to do something like that, you don't call the cops.
Well, you probably do. Because who else are you going to call? What else are you going to do? You know, if somebody took
take off running and go and leave the stuff.
Maybe. Here's another idea. If you're, again, I don't want to be an accomplice to crimes or anything, but if you're a numbskull, burglar, take the keys out of your car while you're robbing the place.
Oh, yeah, says the man who leaves these keys in his car every single day.
Hey, my keys are, well, I guess they're
probably in the car.
Not always. I don't know where they are. I hope they're in the car. No, I'm a little concerned where my keys are. Maybe some Danish burglars took them. I don't know.
I guarantee you they're in the car.
I am kind of bad at that. All right, time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great Tuesday. We appreciate you listening to the John and Heidi Show. Be sure to come back and join us again tomorrow for another fun-filled, action-packed episode. Thank you again for joining us on a Tuesday.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
And your bonus break is brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. For as little as $3 a month, you'll have razors right to your door. It's $1 a month for the razors and then $2 for shipping and handling and whatnot. So for $3 a month, you're going to have razors right at your door. Now, that's the Humble Twin. If you want to upgrade and do the executive series like I do, you can shave like a billionaire for just $9 a month. And they are silky smooth. And that covers your shipping and everything. So $9 a month all in. So less than $10 a month. I was spending way more than that doing it the old-fashioned way.
Oh, yeah.
And the nice thing is these are better razors. And for whatever reason, everybody in my household keeps using my razors. There's 4 people here. I think I really need to upgrade that Humble Twin. Because now none of us want to go back to the Humble Twin. It's not that those are bad, but once you shave the executive way, you're like, wow,
once you shave with those good razors.
It's kind of hard for me to go back to the Humble Twin. I'm like, they call it Humble Twin. What are you expecting? Yeah. So, but you can try it. I'm telling you this, even the Humble Twin is still better than what I used to use. So, but now using the executive for $9 a month, awesome, awesome, awesome. Get all the details at dollarshaveclub.com/radio. You know what we're going to learn about right now?
What's that?
10 mistakes made by travelers, because there are people traveling. The last couple of weeks, people have been camping and doing that stuff, but there are people who travel that not necessarily camping, but traveling over the summertime. And it's one of life's greatest pleasures, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
But traveling can also be a big pain in the tush if you do things wrong. Right here, virtualtourist.com has a list of all kinds of stuff, but they have a list of the 10 biggest mistakes made by travelers. I don't know should we start at number 1 or number 10?
Number 10.
All right. Number 10 says not learning how to say help in whatever language is that you're going to that country.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
You're going to a country. You need to learn words. Even if you know nothing about the other language, learn help and fire and make sure you know whatever their 911 is. Because it's not 911 everywhere. But make sure you have the emergency basis
That is
covered.
something that should be universal,
Yeah,
I would think. It's the
so
same
learn those.
emergency number everywhere. Don't you think so?
I don't know. They must have their own. They probably have their own and we have our own. I don't know. Number 9. Don't leave valuables in a hotel safe. When you come back to the hotel every night, you make it a habit to leave your key on the safe. So when you're ready for a final departure, you'll be reminded to take one last look. Oh, so they're saying that when you leave, people leave valuables in there. Like they forget them when they check out. So, yeah, don't do that. Number 8, not checking to see if your ATM works in other countries. There's sometimes that your ATM works here, but it doesn't work there. So make sure before you go. Next, big mistake people make by travelers, they forget to bring an adapter. Make sure that your appropriate adapter that you have for your phone will work in every country that you're going to be going to, if you're going to other countries. We have none of these problems when we travel.
We don't travel.
No, everything that we have here in our state works in the other states that we do go to that are real nearby. So we don't have these kind of issues. Number 6, neglecting to confirm hotel reservations. Always confirm. If possible, get it in writing. Number 5, not renewing prescription medication. If you need refills, get them before you go. Don't try doing that on the road. Number 4, forgetting time differences. Some countries count time from 1 to 12, while others do 1 to 24. So make sure you know what you're getting into and know where you're at in the world. Number 3, leaving too little time between flight connections. It's best to leave 2 hours between connections. That's not really up to us. Isn't that kind of up to the people booking the flight, like the airline and whatnot? So that's not really our fault. Number 2, not anticipating passport expirations. Double check the expiration date to make sure that it will not expire while you're on vacation.
Yeah,
How bad would that
That would be awful. Speaking of that, we need to renew our kids' passports.
So why? We're not going anywhere.
Well, if we need to flee the country quickly.
And our final thing, the biggest mistakes people make when they're traveling, overpacking. If you have to sit on a suitcase to zip it up, you put too much in it. So don't overpack. I remember recently we went to Vegas.
You can't overpack anymore. They won't let you put the bag on the stupid plane.
They weigh your stuff, and ours was over by a few pounds.
It's ridiculous, by the way.
It was over. How many pounds was it over?
Like 3-4 pounds.
4 pounds. I had to pull out one pair of my underwear, and then it was fine. Just kidding. No, we had to pull out a bunch of stuff. We're like, okay, can we go now?
Yeah, and then even coming back home, it was heavy.
I don't know.
It was too heavy.
I threw stuff away while we're on vacation.
Maybe I just need to buy a lighter suitcase.
Yeah, that's. You know what? What a great idea. They should make really light suitcases. Huh. You might be onto something. I'm going to have to see if reallylightsuitcases.com is taken. No, I probably won't do that. Somebody listening will do it, and they'll become billionaires and be like, well, I heard it on this podcast. Great. All right. Your podcast bonus break has been brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. That guy has done very well with a really simple concept. He said, it was too hard to buy razors. I wanted to make it easy. How much easier could it be than just picking up your mail? You're already getting your mail anyway.
Right.
You get a little tiny package in the mail. It's got your razors in it.
Yeah.
Every month. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm a fan.
And it comes in such a cute little package.
It is. It's really cool.
Yeah.
And they have like a little thing that comes with it, the bathroom times. It's like a little thing
you
read.
get all excited when that comes.
I do. I'm like, I want to read that. And I still haven't read the one I just got. So I have to go, some inspiration. Maybe I'll go sit on my thinking stool.
On your thinking throne.
Yes. And I would like to say, if you'd like to get these razors that we talk about, go to dollarshaveclub.com/radio. That /radio part, that's really important. Then we get credit for it. You can go to any site, but that way they know that it's coming from here. And hopefully we'll get to work together forever and ever. Thanks for listening to the bonus break on the John and Heidi Show.